Today's topic, the Georgia Bulldogs, trying to become the first team ever to three-peat in college football. It's been close before, and most recently it was Alabama. Let's talk about 4 things to avoid: the unlikely upset, the loss to a rival, a conference championship game loss, and of course the loss in the national championship game. Most recently, Alabama tried to do this in 2013. Oh, but there was the rivalry loss to Auburn. You remember it as the Kick Six. Meanwhile, before that, it was USC in 2005. The national championship run by Vince Young gave Texas the title, not USC, and the three-peat. Before that, you go all the way back to 1996 in Nebraska. It was a conference championship loss in the Big 12 to Texas. And before that, it's 1980 Alabama. After 1978 and 79 national titles, Alabama playing Mississippi State in Jackson, Mississippi. They hadn't lost to Mississippi State since 1957. 6-3 Alabama driving for the win. They fumble. Mississippi State wins. No three-peat. Now don't get me started on 1966 Alabama, the only unbeaten, undefeated, untied team in college football. They didn't get in because they didn't get the vote. Thank goodness Georgia has a college football playoff to keep that from happening.
Georgia doesn't have to worry about the 1966 stuff, but they have all that other stuff to worry about. Well, we've talked about the schedule already with Georgia, but rivalry upset, is that Florida, is it Auburn? Unlikely upset, I don't know who that would be, maybe Kentucky.
Well,
Conference championship upset, national championship losses, those, of course, are possibilities.
Okay, so we'll start with the unlikely. Last year was Missouri.
Oh, it's a great point. On the road to Missouri.
I mean, they had to fight tooth and nail to win that game.
Yeah, should have lost that game. I don't know what that game is this year. Rivalry games make more sense to me because you've got to go to Auburn on September 30th, and then you got to go to Knoxville on November 18th. Either one of those are winnable games for Auburn or Tennessee.
Good luck trying to predict a Missouri type game.
Well, there's no other really dangerous road games.
There isn't one because their road games, as you mentioned, are they're Auburn and Tennessee are their tough ones. They're at Georgia Tech and at Vandy. I mean, they'll have more fans than the home teams at those two games in all likelihood. I just don't think the loss is going to come in the regular season.
So that gets you to the conference championship discussion or in the playoffs national championship discussion.
Yeah, which is where I think the loss is going to come. And I just think it's
so you don't believe a three-peat's in the offering?
No, I will not pick Georgia this year.
Yeah, too difficult.
I mean, I think they're going to be really, really good. It's not a discussion of how good a Coach Kirby is or how good a team this is. You just did the video, Jim, and I know we're in the playoff era now, but how many times has it happened in the history of college football?
It's never happened.
So,
even in the popularity world, where if you were close, you would think. I mean, you would thought 1966 would have got the nod. You'd already voted for him in 64 and 65.
Lance, you play the odds, right? If I continue to bet on something that has never happened to continue to not happen, I'm probably going to win most of the time, right?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. So that's why I would do this.
Until you don't.
But I'm gonna stack win on win on win on win until I finally lose, right?
You know, it's become unpredictable now. College football playoff. There was a time when we could say it was going to be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and then throw in a fourth. Now I think you're going to get one or two teams that probably sneak in and surprise. But for Georgia, it looks like it's going to be LSU or Alabama.
I mean, just tell me
at the end of the path.
Yeah, nobody's going undefeated except that 72 Dolphins team. And the Patriots were dominant. I mean, teams could not stay on the field with the New England Patriots.
What were they, 18-0 when they got there, 19-0?
Yeah,
18-0?
And when they got to the Super Bowl, I mean, Lance, teams couldn't stay on the field with that team in the NFL, where there's more parity than any professional or college sport.
And even when they got there, they had wild card giants waiting on them.
Yeah, and they get to the Super Bowl, and it just caught up with them. I mean, I can't explain that. I can't explain how the Giants, who they had just beaten by, what was it, like 3 touchdowns a couple of weeks prior to end the regular season. I can't explain that.
Royal Payne says if Georgia is clunky on offense and or the defense takes a while to get back to Georgia standards, the South Carolina game week 3 in Athens, if South Carolina is playing like they did at the end of last year.